Hey, gang. Thursday. I got the wrong cover up there. Well, that I got to upload this because it's an awesome one today. I mean, it's just the title. But today is Fargan War. Remember that? Johnny Dangerously? Well, there was the one bad guy from that. I can delete that one too. That's from yesterday. Here it is, real quick. For those on video, Fargan War. That's what Elon Musk is saying. That's what he's calling. And that the big, beautiful bill is essentially what I've been telling you it is, even though I always encourage you to do your own homework. Hey, Anthony, shout out to a buddy of mine joining on Instagram. I saw you called. I'll give you a call back today after the show. But Fargan War, now that Musk has actually let out that he planned on being there longer than the 140 whatever days. Yeah, no shit. We're not on terrestrial radio today, so I can say that. But apparently, last Friday's circus in the Oval Office, Oval, 3-ring circus, in the main ring, was just yet another "you're fired" celebration. Because apparently, and we knew this too, because there's been the pissing match between Musk and Rubio for a while. Since, I mean, not that this is really that long of a administration this time around, the 2.0. But we saw this coming. Whether it's Musk's ADD or Trump's thirst to fire people, or just the realization that most of the people aren't qualified for the jobs they've got in the first place. An El Salvadorian festival in the D.C. area, Gaithersburg, Maryland, has been canceled. Why, you might ask? Well, El Salvadorian. That's not one of the 50 states yet. And as such, these people are worried about being deported. Remember when we already talked about the fact that even illegals have rights in the United States? Clearly a First Amendment violation of the right to gather peacefully. Remember, there are 5 elements of the First Amendment: gathering peacefully, the right to gather, and the right to practice religion, or freedom of religion, which is usually done at a church where you would gather peacefully. That's how those two pair together. The right to freedom of speech and freedom of the press, communication, that's how they go together. You would communicate when you gather peacefully with those other people. That's how they go together. And from that, you have the right, and this is number 5, to redress grievances with the government. Well, if that grievance is being kidnapped and illegally trafficked out of the country, you don't get to practice any of those 4 elements of the First Amendment, do you? I wonder if we're going to see any of those people practicing the Second Amendment, because that's coming. That's coming. When you see what I have here today, and I'm not here to stoke fear, I'm telling you the truth. It's coming. Big, beautiful piece of shit is what that is. And now Musk is finally saying it. Too little, too late, dude. You're still a part of the problem. But Trump's budget, remember, we've already learned that while you can't get a hospital bed with this budget, you can get a tanning bed with this budget. And while this budget doesn't fight crime, Luigi, what was it, Mangione, was ahead of his time. This budget allows for tax breaks on silencers. Now, I'm a 2A guy just as much as any other barrel sucker. But there's this little thing we like to use once in a while that apparently the 2A people don't. It's called common sense. And when they don't use that, it makes life a little challenging. Well, now we found something else that I think you'll like and find interesting. Trump's budget includes a property giveaway in Minnesota. Does that sound familiar? I'm pausing there for a moment just so you can kind of think about it yourself. A Chilean billionaire is going to get control of damaged property in Minnesota that had already been determined to be not usable. So he's going to give it to a buddy of his who can use it. Oh, joy. What kind of mining might he be doing there? Let's look. Oh, mining on federal protected lands. That's up. We'll hear from a Georgetown researcher released from ICE detention. He's going to tell us what it's like to have been in custody and taken to a facility hundreds of miles away from his home in Northern Virginia. Spoiler alert. He's brown. Shocker. We'll talk about some new ICE deportation tactics that are on the rise, what to know, and who's doing it. Would you be surprised to learn that the guys wearing those balaclavas, that's the ski mask, feigning to be ICE agents, are not ICE agents? They're pardoned Proud Boys. That's what this newest allegation by, I think it's NBC4, I got to find that. We'll find it. Don't you worry. And then finally, a fired Doge staffer speaks out. What do you think he says? I'll give you a hint. Here's one of his quotes. We didn't find any examples of fraud. And do you remember the projection that I've been telling you about that these people do? The MAGA Republicans? The ones making actual Republicans look really bad? We'll talk about that today, too. Oh, where to begin? My whiteboard from yesterday is still yesterday. So I'm just going to go across the tabs here and find it as we go. But I mean, do you recognize this country? And I know some of the MAGA morons will say, if you don't like it, you can leave. No, I'm going to stay. And together, we're going to 86 who's got to be 86th. And if you think that means kill, well, right there's my door. Come talk to me. And you'll get a political science lesson. You'll get a lesson in the English language. And you'll probably get schooled on a bunch of different things. So come on, go on over. Come talk to me. But there needs to be a draining of the swamp. And Donald Trump is the plug we got to pull. Hashtag for today, still fight hypocrisy. I had some others up here. Let me see what's in my backgrounds today. Fight censorship. There's another. And what else we got? Come on. These change so slowly. Fight back. Equal for all. We might leave that one up there. The taco thing, I think, is still, that's probably old. Yeah, Bitcoin's that too. What's next? Taco in 8647. Yeah, the taco's kind of old though. And this is the Fox Lives one. Yeah, Autopan, Fox Lives. Yeah. So we'll get rid of that. Let's get the taco stuff on it. Let's get the taco stuff on it. We'll put some others back. The hypocrisy, and that one is. I'm just looking at a bunch of these here. Sorry, give me a second. It's the censorship host, so those two will stay. But for today, our hashtags are fight back and equal for all. I know these new concepts are becoming a headache. Just some news items. Fear surrounding U.S. immigration and customs enforcement have led to the cancellation of this year's Salvadorianismo. That's with an accent. I'm trying to get this right. Salvadorianismo Festival. The event was supposed to take place in Gaithersburg, Maryland, this September. And already it's been canceled. Freddie Diaz, the event organizer, confirmed to Telemundo 44 that the 20th edition of the beloved celebration has been canceled due to growing uncertainty surrounding immigration policies. For years, 19 prior to this one, for years, thousands of families have gathered at the festival to celebrate El Salvador's Independence Day. Yeah, probably not a good thing to celebrate this year, right? For now, organizers say the safety and well-being of the community come first. I mean, Pride was canceled last year or the year before here in the Tampa area because of these MAGA morons. For now, organizers say the safety and well-being of the community come first, and they say they hope to bring the festival back next year. Comments such as CJ Madison Tapia, this is sad. Folks, we got to stand up for our Latino community. Riordi says, I don't see any Canadians. You know what? I'm not sharing this. I should probably be. I don't see, and I've been saying this too, I don't see any Canadians or Europeans being forced out. I've known and know plenty over the years, but I'm old enough not to be surprised. I don't know who that is. Is that the I'll everyone president, maybe. Bukele wants more of that prisoner revenue. Yeah, it could be. Well done. Stay alert. Stay safe. And may God lead you without fear, says Lisa Love 85. And this asshat says, if you got papers, just go to El Salvador and party over there. Yeah, because that's a cheap trip from Maryland to Central America. If you don't party inside your house. Yeah, people are being taken from inside their house too, jackass. And then this person's having a laughing emoji. No, it's not about being illegal. What about the people who are trying to be legal? So, yeah, I'm going to read too many of these not so uplifting comments, and I'm going to say something that will be worthy of law enforcement visiting. Yeah, you know what? Here's something else, too. I forgot about this. There's a travel ban, again, because like the Muslim one was legal. I'll put a thing up for that, too. We'll talk about that by the time we get out of here. Also in the news, Donald Trump's big, beautiful budget reconciliation bill will allow Chile's wealthiest business magnate, who has close ties to the Trump family, go figure, to begin mining operations on protected federal lands. Didn't this jerk do this before? And yes, I'm talking about Trump. Asshat of the month. And there's that bozo just standing right aside of him. Probably not necessarily for this issue, but although they have been together when he was up on the Hill droning up support for this big, beautiful pile of shit. Where are these people's balls? Clearly, Trump doesn't have any, and they don't work. His ass works fine, because that seems to be shitting all over the place. But how Mike Johnson calls himself a human, let alone a Christian, is perfect definition of blasphemy. You will rot in hell, Johnson. And any of the other people that still support this douche. There's nothing worth supporting with this guy. I've been saying it. Just want to smack somebody. I'm definitely going to the gym today. We're going to take it out on a treadmill and some dumbbells who aren't named Mike Johnson or Donald Trump. That is our Georgetown scholar. We'll have a whole segment on that. This is with the tactics with ICE. The expedited removal. And that's the fired Doge staffer. Yeah, you know what? We're going to take a break on time today. And when we come back, we'll hear from the fired Doge staffer. And that followed by the fired of sorts Georgetown scholar. And then, of course, comments in the chat. Well, we got one there. Let's put that up. There's Superfan Ken. Good morning and happy Thursday, Ken. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining everybody. This is... Do I have to actually look at and read what show I'm doing? I only have one show. This is Up the Middle. It's Fargan War. Politics for the rest of us. I'm Yergs. This is the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back right after this. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym. But not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training, a dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness. All right. So, oh, God damn it. I don't know what it is with the interface, my audio interface, but every so often, I had to do it earlier today on the call that I was on. It's static. And I only now. And Ken had already suggested update the drivers, which I did. I'm actually even hearing just a slight and static. I might have to do a puppy break too, being bothered. Sea Ranch Civic Association, social group that I belong to here in rural Florida. JD. Social group that I belong to here in Florida. If you're anywhere along the Nature Coast, it's on the Gulf side, north of the Tampa Bay, or if you're in the northern Tampa Bay, Pasco County, Pinellas County, Hernando County, even Citrus County. Definitely check this group out. Go to mysrca.com or scan the QR code up in the top right corner of your screen as you're looking at it. And have you noticed an increase in the use of QR codes, particularly on social media videos and YouTube videos and so on? I have. We've been doing it here for a while at Up the Middle, and I can't wait to show you one of the next upgrades to the QR code. That's coming this summer. But right now, you can join the Sea Ranch Civic Association by going to mysrca.com or scan the QR code in the top corner of your screen. Worth every penny. All right. First up, I want to take a look. I think I got to let a dog out. She's heading back towards the door. Let me do a puppy potty break. And when we come back, then we will talk about this fired Doge staffer, as well as the Georgetown scholar who was taken hundreds of miles away from Georgetown by ICE. He's out and he's talking. We'll be right back after this potty break. Don't go away. Yeah, so realized I didn't put any music on, so the radio people are probably freaking out. Sorry about that. Back from commercial. All right. One more. Ah, dogs. She's a sweetheart. She's just a puppy. All right, let me refresh this. We'll bring this on first so it's here. Maybe I can. All right, nothing I can do to enlarge that besides the Control Plus. So,
billionaire Elon.
Okay. Gonna try to increase this so a little better on your screen too. There we go. Go lay down. All right, here we go.
Elon Musk has returned to his business ventures full-time after leaving the White House and his role with the so-called Department of Government Efficiency at the
Meanwhile, the value of Tesla has tanked yet again. Anyway.
End of last week. Musk has continued to break with his former boss over the budget bill being debated in Congress right now. Writing on his social media platform today, quote, "This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination." The White House and Republican leadership on Capitol Hill rejected Musk's concerns during Musk's tenure in the Trump administration.
That's because pork in congressional bills is a usual thing. And one of the things that got slid in, did you see the guy that voted for something? He didn't know what he voted for? He admitted it? Yeah, because that's a good idea. I was lied to. See how easy that it is? You can say it too, Trump supporters.
DOGE was tasked with gutting the federal workforce and publicizing its cost-cutting efforts. Our White House correspondent, Laura Barone-Lopez, has more from a former DOGE staffer who is now speaking out about his short-lived experience.
Sahil Lavingia spent 55 days working for DOGE, specifically within the Department of Veterans Affairs as a software engineer. Last month, he was let go after speaking to a reporter. He says he was given no clear reason for his termination. Since then, Sahil published a diary of his time working in the department, chronicling what he did and didn't accomplish. Sahil joins me now. Sahil, thank you so much for being here. You joined DOGE in mid-March as a volunteer employee. Can you start by telling us what you were brought in to do?
Honestly, at the time, I didn't know exactly what I was brought in to do. I learned on day one what really I was going to do, which was to help cut contracts, to help build org charts to visualize the organization, and hopefully to spend a lot of my time shipping code as well. And as a software engineer, I was hoping that I could come in and effectively build software in-house, and also ideally hire some more software engineers in-house, make the federal government more competent technically. While we were making progress, VA was kind of surprisingly efficient in a way. It was not as easy of a battle as we were expecting. Software engineers tend to have this saying, we don't do things because they're easy. We do things because we thought they were going to be easy. That's kind of what happened at VA.
So throughout your time there, what was the overall mission of Doge, and how involved was Elon Musk or not in the day-to-day operations?
There's sort of three legs of this stool. The first one being cutting contracts with federal government contractors. Generally tend to have like pretty expensive contracts for relatively like mediocre software.
Like SpaceX, Skyrocket, or whatever the hell the Starfleet or Star Signal, Star Communicator, Star Trek Communication Link company thing, and Tesla. Those kind of contracts.
Then, helping reduce the workforce by the sort of 15%, though I learned later that Doge doesn't really have any authority to do that. And then the last one, the one that I was most excited about, was to actually ship software, to actually like write new code, build new software that would allow us to save the government money, find waste, fraud, and abuse, these sorts of things. Day to day, Elon was not super involved, at least from my perspective at the VA.
You've said that you were disappointed
because he has no contracts with, or fewer contracts with the VA.
Because at the Veterans Affairs Department specifically, you were unable to speed up veterans' disability claims or make it an overall better experience for them. Was that due to staff cuts? What exactly made that so difficult?
I think at the end of the day, like shipping software for the federal government was always going to be this like big uphill battle. And 55 days is just not a lot of time to do those sorts of things. I think I would have been able to do those sorts of things over the course of 18 months, over the course of the time frame that Doge has been given to make a lot of these changes.
Yeah, 55 days, you barely have an idea what you have to change to come in to an environment, one, that you know nothing about, two, that you don't know your way around. So even if you learn about Veterans Affairs, you don't know where files are. Excuse me. Well, you don't know where files are. You don't know how their system is set up. Like, I can go to anything on my system here because I know where it is. I've been doing it for going on 3 years. These people haven't. 55 days is barely enough time to get your email working.
Changes, but in my short time there, I was not able to do much. Right now, it takes 133 days to process a claim. Physically, you have to go get a test. You have to get this paperwork. You have to go find this thing.
There's people that are going to be dead in that amount of time.
And there's just a lot of different places where this data lies that you have to get it from. A lot of these places don't talk to each other easily. They speak different languages in different formats. But the software is generally, turns out not to be the bottleneck.
Elon Musk repeatedly said that Doge was trying to seek out fraud, get rid of fraud, and that in order to do that, Doge needed access to sensitive government databases that has information on millions of Americans or government workers. At Veterans Affairs, did you find any examples of fraud? Were you given access to sensitive government databases?
I mean, I think it depends on what you consider sensitive. As part of, my role at VA was senior advisor to the chief of staff. So I did have access to, for example, like the HR data, but I didn't have access to a lot of other information. In terms of fraud, generally we didn't find any examples of fraud. Fraud meaning someone who broke the law, who was getting money they shouldn't have been getting. We did have one case where we were asked to look into something. We were asked to look into someone who I think some other agency or something found out was 137 years old.
But these people aren't fraud investigators. If you're going to investigate fraud, I can tell you firsthand, That's not something you're going to be able to do. That's why it's called fraud. It's hidden. It's not a case of going to the kitchen and comparing what's in a cookie jar to a full pack of Oreos. That's way too overt. Fraud is not overt. Fraud is when you don't realize the cookies were supposed to be double stuffed Oreos, and they're not. Because little Johnny came and licked half the cream filling out. That's fraud. And you have to know how much cream filling is supposed to be there. These people aren't going to know that. This ain't that hard.
But we looked into it, and in our systems, the health records showed that they were 75. So in our case, specifically at VA, we did not find actually any. We were given one potential that turned out to be a 0. We didn't find any examples of fraud, which is great, right? That's great. That's great news for the American taxpayer.
Do you think that
Then why is he telling that we found going from our $2 trillion goal to our $1 trillion goal to whatever it was in the billions or millions? Why is he not saying, hey, things aren't as bad as what we thought? This is a good thing. Because God forbid somebody with an ego like his, Musk or Trump, is wrong. Even if it would be a good thing. That's when ego gets in the way of decency. One example.
DOJ and staffers like you, I know you only work there for 55 days, but staffers across DOJ should be getting access that you're getting to sensitive government data, to data on Americans, because there are some Americans who have voiced frustration with lawmakers about the access that DOJ is getting.
I think if people are given access to sensitive data, then that access, like, there should be a log of that access. Like, I think it should be very clear to everybody, like, who's getting what access and why. And I think a lot of the frustration that Americans are voicing is they don't know, right? Like, I think they would feel much more comfortable if they actually saw, like, all the paperwork I had to fill out and all the forms I had to fill out and the data that I actually had was able to see. And you can make your own determination.
Mm-hmm. Elon Musk and President Trump say that DOJ's work is going to continue, even though Elon Musk is leaving as a special government employee. What do you think the future of DOJ will be, and who is exactly in charge?
I have no idea. To be honest, even when I was there, it was unclear who was in charge. At the end of the day, I guess Trump is in charge. But I think DOJ will sort of continue to do what it was doing, which frankly to me wasn't that exciting. We were sitting in on a lot of meetings around contract review, making sure that we weren't overspending on these big, federal IT contracts. I think that should continue and will continue. I guess there's this reduction in force that's taking place over the federal government that the VA has said that they're going to participate in. It was moving incredibly slow. I think at VA specifically, more people were hired than fired during my tenure. I hope DOJ ships a lot of software. Unfortunately, I think the admin appetite for shipping software instead of just cutting things is relatively low. Maybe that's partly why Elon and co sort of parted ways in the last week or so. So I assume that won't really happen, but I would be very gracious as an American if paying taxes became easier. If the sort of broad experience of dealing with Social Security improved, et cetera. So I wish them the best of luck, but they just don't have a lot of resources to do what they set out to do in the beginning.
Sahil Lavingia, thank you for your time.
Thank you. It was fun. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so there's one. Sahil Lavingia, former DOJ employee, at least giving kind of how it might be. That's a step, right? That's the El Salvadorian one. That's those shit sandwiches. There's the Georgetown University guy. Okay. Now this we got to bring it back down for. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's refresh this. Bring that back to.
I saw a guy masked jump.
So this is the guy who was. Let me try. Badar Khan Shuri. This is at Busboys and Poets on 14th Street in Northwest. Oh, I remember that. These people have no uniform, no badges, nothing. Wow.
Jumped out of this car and then he said, "Are you Badr?" I was shocked. How he knows my name? He was masked. He was not wearing any kind of uniform, no badges, nothing. He looked like a proper militia guy. How he knows my name?
And that's what I'm hearing is who they're actually using. Not even real ICE agents. This is not okay. Even if they were ICE agents. This is not okay. There's no due process in jumping out of your car and kidnapping someone. That's what this is. Republicans are saying that they're fighting crime. They are crime. Remember I said about Republican projection, MAGA Republican projection? Biden crime family, right? They're so pissed about Hunter Biden working with Ukraine. They're pissed about an international business attorney doing business in another country. That puts their panties in a wad. But kidnapping, trafficking people here legally, forget about the violent murderers and rapists. This is Nazism. This is fascism. I don't care, Blake Fisher, if you agree with me or not. Don't agree with me. You're wrong. This is fascism. These people are Nazis. Just because you're not intelligent enough to realize that they're not in a Nazi uniform with swastikas all over the place doesn't mean they're not Nazis. It's not 1935. It's 2025. Hi, buddy. Yeah, Dad is a little animated. We're talking about a 90-year difference. And because you can't make that adjustment, but you put a microphone in front of your face and call yourself a political douchebag, this is Nazism. This is fascist. The end. Don't agree with me. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. We are not on terrestrial radio today, right? That would probably be good to confirm before dropping F-bombs. This pisses me off. I don't care if they're ICE agents or not. Real sworn 1811s, special agents, deputy marshals, whoever would never do this. At least not with pride. Stop it. She bites his ankles, the bigger dog. The little one bites the bigger one's ankles, and he could eat her. And God love him, his patience. Much thicker than mine. I'd have punted her by now. She's a sweetheart, but all right, let's get back to Badar.
I said, I was like petrified.
In his own words, Dr. Badar Khan Suri reliving the moments he was snatched off the street and taken to a federal facility hundreds of miles away with no explanation.
They said someone very high at the Secretary of State's office doesn't want you here. I said, okay, well, I mean, why would Secretary of State and all this about me? Who am I? And they said, we will deport you. I said, what?
Suri was taken into custody March 17th after the Trump administration revoked his visa, claiming he's a threat to national security because of his wife's family's alleged ties to Hamas.
They literally disappeared me.
Weeks after he was released from that facility in Texas, Tuesday, the Georgetown University researcher sharing his story during a town hall discussion at Busboys and Poets on 14th Street.
For the first time in my life, I was now shackled and chained and was in a very small car, and I don't know what was happening and why was it happening. They were not letting me talk to my family. I even didn't know if I have attorney or anything.
Suri not speaking directly with members of the media because of his ongoing legal cases, but advocates say they organized the event to spread the word about how he was treated and warn all Americans.
I saw a guy masked.
Okay, so that's the end of that. I don't know if you saw me, but I'm sitting here twitching. I want to choke one of these fuckers because they're not agents. They're not colleagues of mine. My colleagues don't do this. My colleagues are actual Americans. And I'm not talking about this gentleman. I'm talking about the so-called agents. You are nothing more than Donald's bitch. You're not an American. You are not an agent. And you're not a patriot. You're a pussy. Because you can't stand up to what's wrong, to what you know is not okay. These people are sidestepping due process. His wife's family's alleged Hamas ties. My dad's sister's second husband was a known drug dealer. But when you needed bodies back in the early 2000s, you were all too happy to give me a security clearance. Was it because I'm white? Because there's no difference between my connection to this now dead drug dealer and this man's alleged family. You didn't know for sure if he was a drug dealer, and I didn't know then either. But I told you about it. You knew. It's no different than this guy, but you kidnap him off the street and then traffic him to another part of the country where he can't see family or counsel. You think that's okay? A little bit? There's nothing about this that's remotely okay. Nothing. Oh. Outside his home in Arlington, Virginia. And I think I heard that he was taken to Texas. Because that's close. I want to know how he got out. So his wife is an American citizen, originally from Gaza, is also a student at Georgetown. Her father, Ahmed Youssef, is a former advisor to now deceased Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. In an interview with the New York Times, Ahmed Youssef said he left his position more than a decade ago and has also been outspoken in his criticism of Hamas. There's your due process. Ship him off maybe he'll get out. They could literally have disappeared me. They did. It's just by the grace of an actual God that you got out. So Magfest_leftovers said that someone at his job did that. No. Not at Georgetown. Georgetown's very conservative, but they're not for this. No, I know people at Georgetown. They are not for the Trump administration. They might be quiet right now, and that's not exactly admirable, but it's understandable. Oh, wow. I mean, this is amazing. This is happening in our country. Well, now you know why I say hashtag fight back and hashtag equal for all. Whew. Wow. Jesus H. Christ. What you want, mates? You want to bitch at something too? This is my dog. You can't see him. He's... Wow. This is amazing. And I knew something like this was going to actually get out. It was only a matter of time before somebody like this guy. Well. Something like this happened to somebody like this guy. And you're slobbering all over me, dog. Go lay down. Go lay down. I know I'm scratching your head, so you're not going to go lay down as long as I'm scratching your head. Something like this was going to happen to this guy. I told you guys. For how long was I playing the promo? A 3-minute long commercial for a podcast called The Whistleblowers, hosted by a guy named Miles Taylor. Miles was anonymous during Trump 1.0. You remember that because he wrote an op-ed to the New York Times during Trump 1.0 and detailed shit like this that was so much less than shit like this. Although he was surveilled when it was out that he was anonymous, when he was no longer anonymous, he was surveilled. I just wonder when that's going to happen. I know we got some in the neighborhood already, but it's not going to be long before drones start flying over this house. Come on, land. I'll send you a soda. Yeah. Well. I know. Right, Shady? Shady's barking at something. This just pisses me off. I saw the videos on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook of these plainclothes guys just taking somebody down on the street with the balaclavas on and everything. And I wanted to say that's not okay earlier than what I did. I wanted to call, and they're not my colleagues. Here's the thing: when you're in like internal affairs and you're investigating real corruption or fraud within law enforcement or government, as opposed to somebody who's gay and that's it, and you concoct bullshit to try to get them to quit or be fired, you're not investigating your colleagues. You're investigating some of the most dangerous criminals there are. And if they're your friends, maybe you should be looked at like the people who investigated me. They were the bad ones. And I knew something like this was going to happen. So when I started calling it out, I didn't feel bad. I felt nervous about it at first because there is the concern, what if I'm wrong? And again, to be clear, I don't say that all special agents are Nazis. That's not true. We are talking about, unfortunately, a small percentage of the federal law enforcement workforce. But these are the ones doing the damage. And yeah, I just don't have it up today, but the hashtag 8647 still rocks. And Christy Yardnome, or whatever the hell her name is, she's got to go too. This is not okay. If these were bad guys, this is still a violation, a blatant violation. This is still ignoring due process. It's not there. That's why Christy Noem can't define it. She doesn't use it. I'm speechless. For those that know me, you know what an amazing day this is, because I am speechless. This is disgusting. This, and I'm not saying that the bill isn't, it is as well. But this is an abomination. This is not law enforcement. This is not immigration policy. This is a type of genocide. That's what this is. Show me somebody that's been deported who's not brown. Where are they? Like Ralphie May said, I don't see anybody being pulled over on suspicion of being Canadian. Can I tell you, I actually had somebody argue that. And their logic was, his logic was, and I quote, well, they're not the ones being targeted. Correct. Yes, that's right. Targeted. Oh, let's go through some comments. Let's see, the mic static, the QR codes, Starlink. Thanks, Ken. And I already showed that he wants Oreos now. Yeah, I think I'm going to go to McDonald's to just binge. and I'm going to stick my head in the canal out back and let all the salt clean my brains out, because I'm trying to wash out this administration with Drano and unclog the shit that Donald Trump is. Use a shovel to get some of it out of his pants. Yeah, this is why I'm speaking. Superfan Ken says, although this can happen to anyone, but people don't believe it until it does. And they feel it don't concern them until it does. Exactly. But this is what happened. And if Blake Fisher happens to be listening, because he certainly doesn't create any quality videos anymore, I told you. This is what happened in Germany. And it got to a point that so many people were gone when those allies of Hitler were the next one targeted. There was nobody left to save them. It's like this concept of government just eats within until there's nothing left. Oh, well. Donald, you're a disgrace. And that's not commenting on the fact that you're also a fat slob. We need to do better, gang. That's the next hashtag. President Buttigieg. God, I hope he runs for something. He would still not be pissed off like this. He's so reserved and calm and collected. That's who we need in leadership. Somebody that actually got stuff done. Go back and look at what he did in South Bend as Mayor Pete. I know that's not the same as a country. But here's the thing that makes me crazy about qualifications to be president. You're telling me Donald Trump is qualified? Oh, well, he's such a good businessman. No, he's not. Daddy was rich. That's his business acumen. The guy was bankrupt 6 times. Tell me again how that's good business. What? Can you not even try to use Google? Oh, well, I like his policies. Okay, so you're a racist fuck too. Because that's what this is. This is not about violent criminals. This is not about murderers and rapists who came over our border illegally. This guy's wife is a citizen. I promise you, he was on his way to being one too. Though I wouldn't blame him for wanting to teach at University of Toronto by now. I certainly wouldn't want to teach here after this. And I hope, I said this before, I hope Harvard goes the way Cornell has with many of their programs and puts them online. Oh, we don't have any students in our dorms from Pakistan. Well, what's this IP address from Pakistan? I don't know. Must be a junk mail. Hi, mates. This is Matrix. And Shady's down there somewhere. It's so funny. She just walks right up to him and walks right underneath him. And she's a big dog. She's 50 pounds. She goes right underneath him, doesn't even touch him. It's so hysterical. Well, all right. I got to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to take a little bit longer of a break because I'm going to find the guy. I want to talk about these tactics too. And what's that one? Oh, that's the guy in Minnesota. We'll talk about that too by the time we get out of here. But I also want to find the guy who is a Trump supporter, voted for Trump, and owns a construction company. He can't do any projects anymore because all of his staff quit. They had to. Because these asshats are coming to construction sites and they're taking people who are rapists and murderers. Remember when that's what they were? Rapists and murderers? Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to start drinking early today. Okay. This is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after this. Hey gang, my name's Jurgs. I'm the CEO of the Jurger Group and Mastiff Media. We're partnering with Dare Media of Australia and are looking for new content. Do you have a podcast? Or maybe a live stream? Does it have a positive message? Is it about sports? Is it political? Is it news coverage? Is it for the LGBT community? Or is it even music? Don't forget, we're partnering with Dare Media of Australia. So not only could your program be heard on our stations here in the United States, but also in Australia. So if that's you, send us an email on air at jurgsradio.com. That's on air at jurgsradio.com. The jurgs.radio URL does not have email. On air at jurgsradio.com. And let's get you on air. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness and Wellness. So I might have some of it. MAGA supporters regret their vote after Trump's actions. I'm going to put links to this stuff. Oh, here it is. This is it. This is it. We'll get to a live spot in a second. I want to play this so bad. Aaron Parnas talked about this. That's where I saw it.
Now, a Republican who voted for Donald Trump.
Oh, hold on. Let's bring this back up.
We have some news right now. A Republican who voted for Donald Trump, who had an ICE raid at his construction site today, said he lost a lot of good men and is having second thoughts about his vote for Donald Trump, buyer's remorse in real time. This is a post made by Jay Cohen from FSU saying, lost a lot of good men today. I like Trump, but this isn't what I voted for. This will absolutely kill the economy and construction. I thought he was going after gang members and criminals with warrants, not hardworking guys, and proceeded to post an image of ICE at this construction site in Tallahassee where dozens of migrants were detained. Many of those migrants didn't have a criminal record, were never convicted of a crime. This is the reality that Trump supporters who voted for him are experiencing right now. And as he said, it'll devastate the construction industry. It may devastate a number of industries as well, where migrants make up the majority of the workers. They are finding out in real time the impacts of their vote. Spread the word and follow along to stay up to date on all the news that you need to know about.
Okay, so that's it. I didn't realize that was in Florida. Shocker there, too, because DeSantis, the other lying piece of shit, is behind this as well and is for it. He wants his wife to run for governor next because we're all supposed to think that she's not a puppet, that she's going to be her own person. She's already literally his bitch. What do you think it's going to be? Sorry, I'm not going to be nice to these people anymore. Call me raged. Yeah. David Beckmeyer's right. There are some things you should be pissed about, and this is one of them. That we have politicians, two, blatantly trying to sidestep restrictions to keep from having fascist dictatorships. Well, I got to try to reach out to this guy. See what other Ben Crump. But that's Aaron Parnas. I've seen his work before. He's like, all these guys are liberal. You're not going to get any conservatives speaking out against Trump. I think Ben Shapiro did a little while ago. I think it was about this reconciliation. I'm not going to call it big and beautiful. It's big and shit-filled is what it is. Yeah, here's a good comment. You see in this one here? He voted for hate. This is regards to the construction guy. He voted for hate. He got hate. Tell him to stop pretending he didn't know. Amen. Absolutely. You people know it. My neighbors don't talk to me about politics. They wanted to fly a Confederate flag. Go ahead. Don't expect me to come over for any hockey games or baseball games or anything. Not with that flying there. Absolutely not. And they haven't flown it. And we haven't talked about it since. But they're Trump supporters. And it's this syndrome where they think they can't have another opinion. They don't know. And I'm not just talking about my neighbors. I'm talking about supporters of this guy in general. You're talking about a demographic. Look at the math. The same support, the same number of voters who voted for Trump or Harris is almost the exact same percentage as the people with a 7th grade reading level or lower Who do you think voted for him? Now, there's people like my two brothers who went to good prep schools, went to private universities. They apparently ain't too bright either. They got screwed because they didn't learn anything. Not about political science anyway. And yeah, I'm calling it out. I'm not hiding anymore. They don't talk to me anyway. So who cares? My parents shouldn't be embarrassed because they tried to teach them. They taught me. I know the difference between right and wrong. I'm not a huge fan of Joe Biden either. But you know what we would have an opportunity to do? It's vote for somebody else in 2028. You can't say that with this bill. You can't say that with this administration. He is doing the exact same thing. And Blake Fisher said I was wrong about this too. He's doing the exact same thing that Erdogan did in Turkey. Put in people that are loyal into the legislature. Eliminate the judiciary. That's it. You got nothing left. You got nothing left. Oh, well. All right. Let me do that live spot that I skipped. You notice that I am doing better today with getting commercials in, because we are now actually pushing that as an option to various listeners, is that selling live spots is going to be a good thing for them. Well, so Ken says, yes, this is super producer Ken saying, that's right, he's super producer now. Saying like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Send them a link and a comment. Yeah, I know I've got things to work on with the content, the structure, the quality of this show. But get in now on the ground level. Because I see it. Look, if I can see it, I see something improving. I see a lot developing with what we're doing here. So yes, don't just tell somebody about it. Send them a link. I'll put up right now the best one to send. Send them this one. Mastiff.media. It's all there. And I just got critiqued on the site that I created for it. Yeah, maybe it doesn't say that we're a radio station and podcast company and whatever else on the homepage. Okay, by the end of the weekend, it will. But everything's there. And Donald Trump can't take it down. But all you have to do is Mastiff, the dog, .media. That's it. Our name is our address. So Ken also says, that was what I was just saying. He knew what he voted for. Yeah. And with your regards to your previous comment, yeah. And now it affects him. There's nothing he can do about it. Because his workers are gone and he's got pissed off clients. Mind blown, says Ken, as to why they would want to have a flag like that up. They say the one guy, the one person told me that It's not a racist thing. It's to celebrate their heritage. One, you're from fucking Ohio. They don't fly that flag there without it being racist. Two, their heritage is slavery, among other things. That's what it stood for. And if it has nothing to do with racism, then why is it flown by the Klan? Along with the Betsy Ross flag, Benny Johnson. This MAGA moron, Benny Johnson, the Benny Johnson Show, you can find it. Your boy Benny. Yeah, boy is what you are, dude. Boy. Because you don't have a set of balls yet. They haven't dropped. If you would, you'd be thinking for yourself. You know what? I learned something recently. Glenn Beck, who is a guy I never really liked because he's also kind of far right. He's literally never been a Trumper. I didn't know that. Good for him. Good for him. But Benny Boy flies the Betsy Ross flag in his background at what I presume is his home studio or wherever he films, wherever he broadcasts from. It's sorry, Betsy, but your flag has been adopted by white supremacists, Christian nationalists. Yeah, that's called fascism. That's what Christian nationalism is. When there's true, legitimate separation of church and state, you have the realization that Christianity is a multinational faith. It's not American. No, by the way, if you don't like Jesus being woke, you're going to really hate his boss. All right. So we found dude. Oh, that's from the FLCIO.
Tell me
That's not
what
it
happened
was.
today.
Here's another one. Let's throw this in real quick. Yeah, this is an issue too. They just keep digging their heels in. And I keep telling people, you don't have to admit that you were wrong. Just admit that you were lied to. Because both are true. If you don't want the first, just do the second one. And you're out. But these MAGA morons don't even have the balls for that. Oh boy. Okay, let's I think we can make him the bigger one. There you go. All right. So this, I think, is the IRS worker. Yeah, I mean, white, ginger. Of course he voted for Trump. This guy ain't going to vote for a woman. I don't know that. I don't care, but speaks out after being laid off. That's Aaron Parnas too, I think. I don't know. Let's look. I just saw something from the Civil War. There we go. Captain Dooley at Pickett's charge. Oh, on, man, on. 30 more yards, and the guns are ours. Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
So, I mean, I went in at my normal time. When I arrived there, you know, everybody was in a very downtrodden mood.
So that guy actually looks like Aaron Parnas, the guy that we just saw, but that's not him. This clearly back in March, or as we do in Pennsylvania, April, because it takes that long to take our decorations down.
And when I went to my computer, everybody was having some technical issues. Like none of our computers were really loading up either the programs that we needed to operate or like Teams. My story is the Teams. That's kind of how I figured out that we were getting fired today. Was when I went in, I logged into Teams, and
so Microsoft Teams, that's what they use to replace Skype. Skype is no more. Like the founding program application platform of visual video conferencing is no more. It was bought by Microsoft, and now it's a part of Microsoft Teams, which I guess is also project management type stuff. But let's listen to, I don't know that we're going to make it the whole 7 minutes, but maybe.
I sent you the photo of what I saw when I went to log in. And that's when I left my cubicle and I went around to everybody else I work with. I'm like, hey, what's your Teams look like? Some were having trouble. Some were able to log in. It was very, very chaotic. There was no organization to it at all. And basically we just sat around for the rest of the day. Talk about government efficiency. We literally sat there and did nothing all day long, while we waited for our fate. So again, we got our email saying that we were fired after sitting around all day knowing we were fired. And then we turned in our equipment about an hour or so later.
I would have left. I'm not going to stay and turn my equipment in if you're not even going to pay me anymore. Come get it yourself.
And then we were escorted out of the building.
What do you make of what happened to you and your colleagues today?
So that guy's the reporter. I was saying he's the sexist white guy. Don't. Sorry, dude.
You're about 400 employees, including yourself, were laid off.
It's unfair.
What's funny about this is that this is my home market for when I grew up. But some of it's changed. I have no idea this guy was the reporter. Whoops.
I was unemployed, so I was laid off. I was laid off before this job. And it took me 8 months to apply and go through all the background checks and everything I had.
That's fast. Mine was 6 months because one, some of it was done already because I had applied earlier in life and was turned down. And less than a year later, they came back and said, hey, we're reconsidering. There was a mistake in my background. So they caught it after I pointed it out to them. And to be a Secret Service agent, you have to have college. You have to have that to get the initial interview. Well, if I didn't have college, why did they interview me? There's got to be a reason why they thought I was at least okay. Well, it turns out during my time in professional baseball, before the internet, I didn't get away. There was no way for me to pay bills. So I had this stack, literally a stack of bills like this, 3-4 inches high of shit that I had to get caught up on at the end of the season. And it took a while. And of course, it also damaged my credit. So now I don't have good credit, which is a problem. And Penn State University withheld my transcripts. They wouldn't release them, even to the federal government. Well, the federal government doesn't look at a diploma. They look at the transcripts to confirm that you have the degree that you say you've got. And because they couldn't get them, the lazy-ass guy that did my background said he doesn't have it, sent the package to headquarters, and retired. So once I got that unfucked, I got hired. And that still took 6 months. So that this guy took 8, that's fast.
Had to do to get this job. And then 4 months later, now I'm in the same boat I was in before. I don't know how to feel. I'm kind of numb right now.
I don't know enough about this. Almost like I don't know enough about a guy sitting in a van being a reporter, not some sexist pig. Dope. But I would say because you were terminated and not because of misconduct, that he could still get unemployment, which, by the way, is paid by the government. All right, I got to let some dogs out again. I'll let this play through, and I'll be right back.
I went out to lunch with one of my buddies after immediately it happened, and what can you do at this point? Aside from reach out to the news organizations, reach out to our senators, reach out to our representatives. It was an illegal firing. My performance was good. I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. I was even one of those government employees that went every day of the week. I had to report every Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30. That was my tour duty, and that's what I served. And here I am.
Did they give you any inkling as to is there a package that you're aware about that exists right now? Or?
Well, no, not for us. I did not take that deferred resignation, which now looking back on it, it's.
Yeah, but you were just hired. Why would you resign? Why would you have any expectation of leaving if you were just hired? There's no reason for you to take a deferred. This whole administration's got to go. 86, everybody. 86 2.0. How's that?
It's kind of a regret, but who knows if that's even going to be honored in the end anyway, too. So I just feel pretty lost. I don't know where I'm going to go forward from here. I know the job market's not great right now.
There's more.
What
there's more of Trump's economy working for you.
Occurred today across the country is not going to help the job market.
I've been saying that too. How can the unemployment numbers be going down when the government is literally forcing the entire system up? That makes no sense. Wait, could it be a lie from the Trump administration? No, that's fake news.
What do you make of the Trump administration's actions?
I thought that he was. I did support him. I was a Trump supporter. When he talks about government waste and all that, yes, I'm behind it. I believe there is a lot of stuff in the government that needs fixing.
How do you know? You were there 4 months. You can barely check your email in that time. And as you learned, it doesn't always work.
And that's part of the reason why I actually wanted to work for the government, to help change the things that are wrong in the world, and I thought that someone with like his business acumen would have come in with a fine-tooth comb.
Didn't I just use that word? Didn't I just use that word? Well, I guess this is who we hire at the IRS and the government, are people who think hiring 6-time bankrupt executives to be the chief executive is a good idea. Moron. I'm glad this guy's talking. I'm glad he's telling us what it's like from the inside. But with him actually also being a Trump supporter, I have a real tough time pitying him. In fact, I don't. I kind of hope that he doesn't get unemployment. Go ahead. Struggle like some of the other people I know, like the people who are in an El Salvadorian prison. Sit in your basement and pretend you were deported.
Home and actually found it instead of coming in with a wrecking ball and destroying people's lives for no reason.
Were you given a reason for the termination?
That my performance no longer fits the mission of the IRS.
Can you say whether or not your manager, your whoever, your superiors, they're was it very just about face, or did it seem like they're this?
No, our management was scrambling to help us today. Management and union. I can't talk good about them because of where.
Imagine going through all that with no union. That's what I went through twice during Trump 1.0. Now you know why I don't pity this guy, because I never supported him. Well, tell me why I'm not supposed to be pissed off right now. Yeah, super fan / producer Ken says FAFO once again. Yeah, another one. Yeah, see, this is the thing that I find fascinating. These people, they don't want to believe somebody like me because I'm a libtard. I got more guns than you do. Not that anything with the Bill of Rights should be considered conservative. But we know that most progressives or liberals don't like the gun thing. So, okay. But I got more guns than any of these asshats. Spread around the country. If they would have done his homework and Google Trump. Trump is a failure at more than just business.
Where I'm at, but I mean, they did everything they could to help us today, and even some of the higher up management were sympathetic and they understood where we were coming from.
How about where you're going? Screw where you're coming from. How about where you're going? Why don't you have them answer that question? Oh, where we're coming from. You're coming from your desk for the last time.
And I don't think they wanted us to go either. This was an executive.
Yeah, because now they got to do the work you do. That's why they don't want you to go. They don't care about your paycheck. Upper bosses in government don't care. They tell you they do. They tell you they've got an open door policy. And when you walk through that door, it's what the fuck are you doing here? They don't care.
Executive act.
Oh, by the way, the chief don't care officer is in the White House. In case you were wondering.
Outside of his scope of power.
Have you been able to think about what you're going to do next in terms of dealing with this situation?
Not yet. I'm still kind of digesting it. You know, I can't say it was a shock because, I mean, we've been going through this.
Because you voted for it. So no, you can't say it was a shock. Dumbass.
mental torment for 2.5 weeks now. So
Oh, wow. You're going to lose your job for 2.5 weeks that you voted for. How about those of us that didn't vote for it? How about those of us that knew this guy was a bad choice 8 years ago when you were still beating off to the lingerie section of the Sears catalog? Oh, I don't pity this guy. I don't pity him because he's not talking about the insider at the IRS anymore. He's talking about the guy who is out in the street, who should be. Yeah, I think I'm done with this interview. I want to find out who the reporter is because I'm going to call him and say, hey, here's the segment I did on your story. Sorry about that little, what did I call him? Ginger at the beginning. And now that I hear him speak a little more, Brian Sheehan, NBC 10's Brian Sheehan. Sorry, Brian. My bad, bro. And Robert McCabe. And see, here's another thing. He's a probationary, and the judge actually made a correct decision. When you're in your probationary status, they can get rid of you for literally anything. Which is why in the first 3.5 years, I think it was for us, I was a good boy. I did not screw up at all. I don't think so. Oh, well. All right, what else we got here?
And today, many economic analysts and historians argue.
This is, yeah, speaking of big, beautiful Bill. Remember this guy? Here was an actual conservative president. Take notes, Donnie.
Today, many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery. You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade.
Does any of that sound vaguely familiar? Like maybe a little bit, sort of? Yes, it does.
Barriers and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity.
Boom. Share this, gang. I'm going to put this in the chat now so it can be shared as soon as possible. This is from Facebook. That was former President, the late Ronald Reagan, who had his issues. I was never a huge fan, and I understood why one of my college professors gave him a D not long after he came out of office. But he's certainly right there. What is that one? Oh, is it the Minnesota thing, I think? I got to bring this out. I think that's the thing. Yeah, who do his business ventures? Oh no, it's not. Well, this is going to blast through a bunch of things quick to wrap up the last 12 minutes.
Billionaire Elon Musk has returned to his business ventures full time after leaving the White House and his role with the so-called Department.
Didn't we watch this? I think we saw this one. This is the yeah. This is the former staffer. This is the one I want to see. And that's that guy. Okay, that's the scholar. Is that okay? Yeah. Let's watch this one now. So this is about the ICE tactics. Like, what else could they be doing? God damn it. All right, so this is about ICE.
A new ICE tactic the Trump administration appears to be using to ramp up deportations. Here's how it works. Government lawyers terminate someone's case inside immigration court, then ICE arrests them outside for immediate deportation. Cancel, arrest, deport. This video from Virginia shows people being arrested right in the parking lot outside immigration court. Same day in Miami, similar scene, and this is happening more and more across the country.
People who have been here for less than 2 years.
Okay, I want to go back and this doesn't have a status bar.
The government asking for dismissal, and then the minute that they get out of there, then all of a sudden they're now in expedited removal. So taking them into custody and placing them in this new type of proceeding where they won't get to present their case before the immigration court. In 20 years, I've only ever had one client who was arrested outside of a courtroom, and I think those were very specific circumstances.
In a statement to NBC News,
yeah, maybe that was the guy who was the actual murderer rapist.
a DHS official said ICE is following the law and placing these illegal aliens in expedited removal as they always should have been.
It has a chilling.
No, that not always should have been. Not when there's actually this thing called due process. You've eliminated that because you're a racist ass. And you're speaking on its behalf because either you're a puppet and you don't have any balls or you're a racist ass.
Effect. People don't show up to court because if you think that you're going to be arrested and then immediately deported, why come? You have to be prepared for the idea that your family member isn't coming home.
There's a new ICE tactic the Trump administration appears to be using to ramp up deportations. When lawyers terminate someone's...
Okay, so that's actually not that new. They've been doing that for a little bit now. But what is this country becoming? And no, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay here and make it better. I'm going to grow my audience, educate them, thanks to super producer, super fan. Yeah, you should be my agent too. I need one of those. Get me some speaking gigs. Super fan Ken. Super agent Ken, super producer Ken. Oh, wow. It's kind of fascinating. Like the greatest country in the world, literally overnight, became the biggest pile of shit. Wow. It's disappointing. But I'm here. I'm not leaving. I could go. I've talked with people that if it got like violent, I could go to various places outside the country. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay here and be a pain in this guy's ass. Wow. One of the things, let me see if I can pull this up somewhere, if I still have it in my own. Wow, look at that thing. Tractor trailer with a Harley behind the sleeper, towing a trailer, towing a pickup truck. There you go. Definitely see that in the South. There was something else I just thought about that I might have here somewhere. Oh, have you heard about this guy? This is the new head of FEMA. Wait till you see this. I was supposed to talk about this the other day and I didn't get to it. And then also, well, here's this. Look at this one too. So we can get these all in quick. We talked about that guy. Oh, look at this. This is fascinating. Like real other fascinating. We're going to do this first. So this from Susan Deal. He doesn't read. This morning, I broke down a disturbing new NBC News report. Donald Trump is refusing to take his daily presidential briefings. I told you before when we talked about this briefly, when I said I was going to cover it. I have a family member, somebody kind of sort of close in the circle, who was the editor of the presidential daily briefing when this person worked at the CIA. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. I don't want to get anybody else exposed. And I could do a couple of people by telling the story. All I'm going to say, they made good decisions. They've removed themselves from a space where they could be supporting this asshat. The same briefings that every modern president has relied on to make decisions about war, peace, terrorism, global markets, and national security. He is skipping them. According to multiple sources, Trump has sat for only 14 briefings since taking office. This is less than a week. This is less than once a week. And what's worse is how his cabinet is reacting. They're not confronting him. Shocker. They are trying to disguise the intelligence briefings as Fox News segments just to get him to pay attention. Donnie the 4-year-old. That is not satire. That is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, exploring whether to turn classified national security briefings into TV segments with animation and Fox-style hosts. They are building cartoon intelligence reports for a man who controls the military. I've got to see if there's more on this. This is not just a president who is distracted. This is continuing that same article. And this is from AdamMockler.com. He's not bad. I liked him better before he hit puberty, and he was a little bit more nasally, sounded a little bit more like a 16-year-old. I didn't like him for sexual reasons. I just thought, wow, this young kid's bright. Now he's not young anymore. It's like when a twink in gay porn turns 30, they're no longer a twink. They're just a skinny gay guy. Only gays get that joke. All right. And he says, let that sink in too much. Dude, it's sinking in. You're good. Slow down. Yeah, no. This is not just a president who is distracted. This is a president who is actively avoiding classified information and cannot complete the most basic tasks of his job. He disappears during the most important time of the day, and his staff is brainstorming how to trick him into doing the job he was elected to do. And it is already affecting policy. He's getting walked over by Vladimir Putin. He routinely claims not to know about international events. He freezes in press conferences and seems completely unaware of major military developments. At this point, it's not just negligence, it's incapacity. Yeah. And yet no one in his party will say it out loud. Instead, they're attacking Biden's age while defending a man who cannot sit through a security briefing without cartoons. Yet they're attacking they're attacking a person's age who's no longer in office. That's what I don't get. This is not leadership. This is not normal. And if we pretend it is, we lose everything. Yeah, I've been saying that. I've been saying that we have been desensitized to his pathetic stupidity. And it's not okay, guys. Let's step this up again. Let's bring W back. Remember when Obama was first elected? There was a T-shirt. A T-shirt that came out. It was George W. A cartoon drawing accurate cartoon drawing of George W. kind of snickering. And the caption read, "Miss me, don't you?" It was like, no, I'm pretty happy with Obama, even though I was for Hillary. And then, in that one, he beat McCain, who I could have taken. I could have had him as president. And then he beat Romney, who I would have also been satisfied with, but in both cases still preferred Obama. We got screwed in 2016, flat out. If we would have been behind Hillary the way we should have been as a country, as a society, she would just be leaving office because there's no way she would not have been reelected. And I think her downfall, I don't know that Tim Kaine was a good vice presidential candidate. I think she picked him because he would be more of a yes man. And I think that was a tactical error. But anyway. Hey, I'm running over. Shocker. We'll finish this and I'll get out of here. You will not hear this on cable news. You will not read it in the Wall Street Journal. But I will keep reporting it here, and so will I, because this matters. If you value this work, please become a paid subscriber, which I don't have yet, but you can support me too. We're in a fight to preserve reality. Well said. We do that by speaking clearly and refusing to look away. What have I been saying? Step up and do your homework. Don't believe me for what I say. Don't take my word for it. Do your homework. Do your own work. Let me be your starting point. And Adam goes on to say, thank you for being here. Thank you for making this possible. Hey, you know what? Congratulations for being here. Yeah, that was, Ken says that was a you miss me yet meme. And for the cartoons to teach this guy, Jesus, just, I said that. I said that yesterday. We've got a fourth grader. That's the exact grade I used to. And he says, oh my God, does he need a cartoon? Damn it, you just said it. Yep. Yeah, that's what they're actually looking at, is making cartoons for this guy. That is what, and that's not what the presidency has become. That is what this guy made it. Huge difference. Huge difference. Don't forget this Friday, Action for Andrew. Here's something else I would love to see you reach out about. If you're not going to share something about me, tell any friends you've got, even just post it on Facebook. You don't know where all your Facebook friends and followers live. I'm sure there's somebody within driving distance of Washington, D.C. Let them know about this. Action for Andrew, Andry, this Friday on the steps of the U.S. Supreme Court. Andrew, I don't remember what his last name was, but was the gay, I think initially Mexican, makeup artist that was also literally just snatched off the street and deported to a country that he had asylum from because of rape. Remember the rapists and murderers, Donnie, that you're protecting us from? Well, Andrew isn't one of them. One more example of how you're a pathetic failure. Joseph Soul's book, The Broken Mirror of Memories, Iraq and Other Tales, available. And we talked. I really think we're going to bring this to mastiff.media. I've seen parts of it already. Yeah. He was on Coast to Coast AM last week. That is still there. You can go back and watch it again. Definitely recommendation. If you are somewhere in the world, but still within the sound of my voice, where your government doesn't want you listening to me, and you could be in the U.S. for that, all that, we know. Send me an email to the address Yergz, Yergz, at sheyergz.com. CHEZYERGZ.com. Tell me that you need a vacation and where you need that vacation from. And that's my hotel address. I don't actually have a hotel right now, but that's what it was going to be and what it will be someday. Tell me where you need the vacation from. That way I know where we need to get our show to. Sea Ranch Civic Association. For those of you along the Nature Coast or northern Tampa Bay, go to mysrca.com. Sign up today. Definitely worth it. The Capitol switchboard is 202-224-3121. Call your senators. Call your congressman. Tell them this is not a big, beautiful bill. It's a big, beautiful pile of bullshit. And if they vote for it, so are they. Jane Stahl, my Monday co-host, can be reached Jane E. Stahl, Stahl, at Comcast.net. She's the manager of Studio B Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. You can learn more by going to studiobbb3bs.org. She's also the co-editor of the Boyertown Area Expression, our town's digital newspaper. For more information on that, go to Boyertown Area Expression.town.news. Matt Deemer will be with me tomorrow. He's a host of Daily Crypto News. You can reach him, Matt, at dailycryptonews.net, and learn more about the Daily Crypto News by going to dailycryptonews.net. You can get us all by writing news, NEWZ, at Yergz, YERGZ.com. And for more information and for video, show notes, and other info, go to www.mastiff.media. Video is available at mastiff.media and yergz.com. And as always, 24/7 on yergz.radio and other stations. You can learn about those other stations at mastiff.media. I don't know which one's up today. One of the podcasts is up next. Playlist schedule. Coyote Small Business Podcast is up next. It's actually rolling right now. Let's get to that. Replay of this will be back in less than an hour. Replay of today's show. I'll see you again then, and I'll definitely see you tomorrow with our next live performance. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific in the United States, 11 p.m. in Perth, Australia. Use those as benchmarks or go to worldtimebuddy.com and figure it out for yourself. And we'll see you then. See you tomorrow.